Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm today's host, Coleman Hodges. Joining us today, he's got a long list of accolades at this point: world and NCAA champion, world record holder, and now NCAA record holder in the 100 free and the 200 and 400 free relays. He also has the fastest 100 free split in history. Today, we're talking to Jordan Crooks. Jordan, how's it going, man? Thanks for being here.
Good. Thank you for having me.
This episode of the SwimSwam podcast is sponsored by Commit Swimming, SwimSwam's exclusive team management software partner. Since 2015, Commit has been providing coaches with swimming's leading workout management software. And now, Commit has team management software too. Commit wants to help you make the switch from Team Unify to a simpler, more powerful solution. Their onboarding and customer service team will walk you through every step of the way. Check them out at commitswimming.com to book your demo today. That's COMMIT swimming.com. You're coming off of an historic NCAAs, one that saw you win NCAA titles, break NCAA records. You're in your backyard in Knoxville. You're back home, just a few days removed from the meet. How are you feeling about everything, especially that being your last collegiate meet?
Really good. Couldn't have asked for a better way to go out in college, and still kind of taking it all in, but just super grateful for it, and glad that we were able to get a couple records on the board.
Yeah. So especially after SECs and the meet that was, and we can talk about that a little bit too, but just did you have goals or expectations for yourself heading into this NCAA meet?
I think going into the meet, my goal was to just try and be the best swimmer I could for Tennessee and try to have fun with it. We always say, have fun, don't stress too much, but I think the goal was to actually do that. A lot of times you take the meets really seriously, you take a specific event really seriously and focus on, trying to hit a certain time. And if that doesn't happen, we can get a little sidetracked from it. But I think I did a much better job at this meet, trying to just have fun with it, enjoy the experience, because this is my last experience in the NCAA.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit more about how you've learned to actually enjoy a meet and have fun at a swim meet versus, as you said, taking it so seriously and maybe trying to have fun versus succeeding and having fun at a swim meet like this?
I think looking at the college meets, looking at it more from doing this for the team and not for myself, I think that helped a lot. Like all the individual swims, all the relays, it's not for me, it's for the team, because at the end of the day, it's a team score. Like, we're not looking at individual scores, we're looking at, Tennessee, not Jordan Crooks and I think that helped a lot in trying to take the pressure off of it, take the pressure off myself, realizing that this is a team effort. Like I'm going all in for UT, going all in for the Vols, and not just myself.
Yeah. And so taking a look at specifically some of these swims, you recorded your first couple flat start 1750 freestyles at this NCAAs. You were 1791 to win the 50 free final, and then you led off the 200 free relay in 1782. In terms of those, especially again coming off of the SEC championship, what do you feel like you've learned this season about being able to really harness your top speed and get under that 18-second barrier?
I think what Matt and I talked about going into the 50 the day before we swam was treating all three of them like they were the last one, like this was end all be all, which is how I usually try to think about it. But I think I had to be a little bit more proactive and kind of realize like this is it. Like these are the last 350 frees in yards. And I once again swim them knowing that if I can swim the best 50 free that I can, hopefully that'll put Guy in a position to have a good leg, and then Nikoli, and then Lamar, and then we can bring this all home. So I tried to take them each very seriously. Once again, not too much pressure, but treat each one like it was the last one, like it was the last opportunity.
Mm-hmm. What do you feel like, having 350s in one day like that, what do you feel like changed throughout? I mean, and again, you went from 1800 in prelims to 17.9 to 17.8. What do you feel like, if anything, changed from each of those 50s?
I think the morning swim was just a morning swim, nothing special. I think I did my race plan. I think there were things I needed to clean up, which I then turned around and did in the individual. And then the relay, personally, I think I was faster just from the adrenaline rush. Just relays are a lot more fun to swim than individual events. So I think the I didn't really have to search for speed there, like it was, or speed or motivation. It was all there from the boys.
Yeah. From a technical perspective, are you thinking about a lot, kick count, stroke count? I'm guessing you don't breathe, but in a 50 freestyle like that, what's going through your head, or what are you trying to hit?
Trying to hit the same stroke count. Sometimes it varies. Like if you look back at film, I think I took one more stroke going out. Possibly, I could be wrong on this, in the night than in the morning. And it can vary. Usually, I try to stick to the same thing, rehearse it in warm up, and try to keep the exact same race so there's nothing to change. But we've done it so many years now that if there happens to be an extra stroke in there or an extra kick, we can fix it. We can work with it, and it's not going to throw the whole race off.
Mhm. So, but I mean, I like that you've pretty much rehearsed it down to a T. Even warming up for it that night, you have an idea of how it's going to
Mhm.
look and what it's going to look like.
And kind of looking at I pay attention to the bottom of the pool a lot because I like to push the 15-meter marker, so I need to know where 15
Mhm.
is. And just rehearsing that in warm up, a lot of push 25s, just burst to the 15-meter mark, just kind of getting a feel for what it's going to feel like popping out of the water. Because, I mean, well, I want to be able to get to 15, but not past it. And you got to kind of figure out what's that sweet spot for popping out at 15, but not passing it.
Yeah. What was Federal Way like in terms of a pool in the bottom?
It was a really nice pool. Not, the depth was good. 15 meters wasn't marked on the bottom, but there was an NCAA sign on the bottom near the diving end that you could kind of see when you were kicking underwater coming back. So I just had to make sure I knew my kick count coming on the way going
Mhm.
out, and coming back I could just kind of push it, and I knew when that sign's coming up, you got to be up in a couple seconds.
Nice. Easy enough. That's fun.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Tried not to complicate it.
It's just in terms of your individual 50 freestyle. Uh, I'm curious if you had a feeling, you won this title 2 years ago, and it was a little bit of a wonky race last year.
Hmm.
Josh Liendo just got the touch, and this year you were able
Hmm.
to, get that title once again. What did that mean to you? Again, especially it being your last 50 freestyle individually.
It was cool. I mean, Josh is an awesome competitor, really competitive guy. Between him and Guy, like they've pushed me to be a better swimmer every year in and out. And it was cool to go head to head with them for the second to last time because the 100 was really the last time, but that was our last 50 yards together. So it was really cool to have that experience and go at it one more time.
Yeah. I'm uh it's, then let's talk about that 100 freestyle, because once again,
Mhm.
with the 50, you kind of said 18:0 in the morning. It was a morning swim. um you got some fireworks going early that day. 39.83 in the 100 freestyle. You broke Caeleb Dressel's NCAA record from 2018. I don't think many expected that to go down in the morning. Tell me about that swim, and what, if anything, stood out to you about it?
I think in the morning, I tried to swim it as clean as possible, rehearse for the night, and just kind of get a feel for what it would be like to really rip in finals and go all
Mhm.
out. The night was a hair slower. I think just maybe taking it out just a little bit too hard and not having enough to finish at the end. But the morning swim I was really happy with just because of how clean it was. It felt the way that I've been trying to feel in the 100 free for quite some time. And Matt and I have been working on it for quite a long time, actually. And we were both really happy at not just the time itself, but how it looked, how the stroke counts were, the kick counts. All in all, it was just the cleanest swim I could have asked for, with still things I could have cleaned up, like, maybe a long stroke here or there into the turn. I do think it helped with the confidence to go into the night, though. And even though, I didn't win the 100, but I'm super, super happy the way the meet turned out. And I mean, shout out to Josh for getting under 40 as well. It was super cool to have both of us do it for the first time. But I think the morning swim gave me a lot of confidence going into the individual and then the relay as well.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit more about what felt right about it, or what made it so good? And again, what you've been working on with Matt for years.
So the 100 it's not really one of those things you can pace. The goal is to try and get out as fast as possible with the least amount of effort. And so that's what we've been working on, because you may or may not remember this, but my freshman year, I used to take hundreds out really hard and I couldn't really finish very well. And so I had to learn how to take it out a little bit smarter while still maintaining a high tempo. So being able to take it out with the goal being 18, but not using all that energy so that we can finish the race. And we worked on that all year this year. I think a little bit of 200 work has helped as well, just being able to swim for longer without getting as fatigued. I started working on the 200 last year a little bit, and we did it a little bit this year as well. And although the 200 wasn't my main focus, I do think the training benefited me a lot in being able to finish the 100.
Yeah. Is that, was that one reason behind switching your event lineup from the 100 fly on that day 3 event to the 200 freestyle?
So I initially switched from the 100 fly to the 2 free because I had a few back issues last year. I had some lower back pain that was bothering me, and fly was the stroke that bothered it the most. So we decided that I would eliminate that from my lineup, just save it for relays if need be, and I had to pick a third event, and haven't really done a lot of backstroke since I was in college, and I figured the 2 free might be beneficial for that long course 100. So we tried to jump in on that, and last year was kind of the test run, and we had a few good swims this year, and I learned a lot about it. It's still one of those events that I still have a lot to learn about, but I have all the respect in the world for the guys who have mastered it.
I mean, certainly there are a lot of really good 200 freestylers now, but 130.0, I think you're historically really up there in the ranks. Did you ever see that for yourself in the 200 freestyle?
I swam it in high school, and I knew I was capable of doing it. I didn't quite think 130 at first was feasible, because I think I came into college at a 36, 37 or 36. And so it took a while for me to kind of understand what yards 2 free is like. And it's a little bit different from short course meters 2 free, and it's very different from long course meters 2 free, which is the two courses that I grew up swimming it in. So I had to kind of learn that you can't really pace it. It's really just a sprint. But it was really cool to be in those heats once again this year in the final and be a part of that and get to race some of the best in the world.
Yeah. How did you feel just going into 200 freestyle training your junior and senior year? I feel like you see a lot of athletes progress down in distance as they go through their collegiate career. You don't always see athletes progress up and go from like a 50, 100 style training to a 200.
It was definitely a challenge, but I think I enjoyed it. I mean, I got to train with different guys, guys that I would typically only swim with maybe 2 or 3 times a week. I was racing with in practice a lot more, and I think it pushed me to be better, pushed them to be better, and it was fun. It was very challenging, I won't lie, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I think I learned a lot about freestyle, the different strokes of freestyle. I think that 100 is kind of like a middle ground between the 50 and the 200. And I think maybe training the 50 as much as I did this year and training the 200 as much as I did this year resulted in why the 100 worked for me so well in NCAAs.
Do you have, so I'm guessing you have different strokes for the 200 and for the 50. Where's the 100 on the stroke scale?
100 somewhere in between, where I don't want to have a 50 rate. That would be a little bit too much. That would be very, very similar to my freshman year, which was a little bit too aggressive. Very ambitious, but not exactly what you would want for a 100 free, not very sustainable. Not quite as slow as a 200 stroke though, which I had to kind of learn. If you look back at some of my film from sophomore and junior year, I think my 100 free stroke rate was actually a little bit too slow, and that's why I was kind of in the same 40 mid to 40 high range for so long, as I hadn't quite found that
Mhm.
gear that was needed to pick up the stroke rate and swim it a little bit more aggressively. And not necessarily going all out, but being able to pick up the stroke rate and stay light on top of the water and kind of skip across the water like we do with that 50 stroke, but with a 200-esque stroke.
Yeah. So I like this
Yeah,
analysis and getting that
yeah.
perspective on the middle ground. In terms of um, in terms of you and Josh Liendo's, I guess you could call it a rivalry, or just the amount of times you have raced. I don't know if you saw this, but Buttstroke Swimming put out a tweet that the full individual matchup history of you and Josh Liendo in the NCAA, you've each won 8 times, you've each lost 8 times,
Mhm,
and then you've tied
mhm.
once. So you're eight,
Yeah,
8, and 1.
that's,
Um,
mm, that's pretty sweet. Yeah.
yeah. So I was just curious about how you felt having like this formidable of uh, an opponent, of a racer, of a competitor, in the NCAA for 3 of your years that you've been racing in college. And I mean, I know you've said it's been great racing him, but just um, have you reflected on that at all since in the last few days?
I think, I don't think, or let me put it this way, I think he, Josh Liendo and he were not just great racers, but I think they pushed me to be faster than I would have been without them. They're not people that you can race and have a mistake and still win. They are some of the best in the world, and if you're not on eighth run, they're very tough to beat. And I mean, they're great people as well. Like, not just like, I know Josh a little bit out of the pool. Like, and he is on my team. Like, they're not just racers. Like, they're really good people as well. And very good sportsmanship from both of them. And I'm gonna miss racing them. It's been a very enjoyable experience over the past couple of years being able to race against them. And I'm looking forward to watching them go head to head next year.
Yeah. So on that note, you guys, Tennessee put up some really historic relays this year. Uh, you, Guy Caribe, Nikolai Blackman, and Lamar Taylor, broke records in the 200 free relay and the 400 free relay. Uh, had historic swims in the medleys as well. But in terms of those relays and just gelling with this team this year, was this something that you guys could have predicted at the beginning of the season, or kind of did talk about at the beginning of the season?
At the start of the season, Nikolai, Lamar, Guy, and I all kind of sat down and we talked about like our best times or what we thought we were capable of, and we kind of reflected on. It was Nikolai's second year here, Lamar's first year, so they didn't have as much experience as Guy and I. But Nikolai had been here for a year already, so we talked about what we saw last year, like what it was going to take to get up there and race these guys, and we trained every day in and out and started to realize kind of going into invite like we've got a pretty good relay team going in. We tended to we were trying different like different lineups, different swings, and kind of working on like making sure Nikolai can go off a relay swing for me or Geek can go off of Lamar or vice versa. Just making sure that whatever the order was going to be at the end of the year, like however it worked out to where we could put up the fastest team, we'd be able to make it work. And I think what stood out to me is like all four of us trusted each other. Like there was never a doubt in our mind that this was not going to be the fastest relay team out there. All year we talked about breaking the NCAA record in the 2 free relay and the 4 free relay. It was possible. It wasn't going to be easy, but we talked about what it was going to take, and we didn't just talk about it. We worked on it in the pool day in, day out. Rich Murphy, just day in and day out with the relay exchanges, and Matt watching our strokes, just giving us little tweaks here and there, making sure that we were finishing with not a short stroke, a full stroke, so that we had the best possible opportunity to get under those records, and it played out awesome. Like I'm super happy for all three of them, and couldn't have asked for a better relay team.
Yeah, I when you're analyzing a relay like that and shooting for relay records like that, is it easier than maybe an individual record? Just I'm wondering the analysis that goes into it. Like, are you thinking, okay, so and so has to split this, so and so has to split this, or are you just like, we just want to go fast, like we just know we can break that record?
A little bit of both. I would say a healthy mix of both. We definitely knew like what, for example, what averages needed to be for the different relays, but we weren't gonna say, okay, this person needs to go this time. We knew what the averages were gonna be, but the goal was you swim as fast as you can possibly go and forget about the average. Just swim the best 50 or the best 100 you can go, and that'll get us under. Like I think we had the relay team where if every guy swum their best race that they were capable of, there was no doubt that we'd be able to break them.
That's it, and it was awesome watching you guys do it. Again, not only at SECs, and then you come and break the 400 free again at NCs. You were 4/100ths off in the 200 free relay. I believe Nikoli is with you.
Yes,
Let's bring him in. Maybe toss him a headphone.
Here, I'll give him an AirPod. There you go, pull that here. Yes.
All right. Nikoli, welcome to the pod. And the dog. We get the full.
Yeah, that's what we've been trying to keep off camera for a while. He was being a little butt.
He was biting me.
Well, hopefully he can be okay on camera. But so I'm curious. You guys mentioned you've known each other for quite some time. I'm curious about just the history between you two and what it was like growing up and getting to race each other.
Well,
he and I didn't overlap in Carifta. I overlapped with Lamar,
okay.
So I knew of him, but he was a little too young for me to be able to race him.
Okay.
So I was ending my Carifta years, which Carifta is like a national championship for the whole Caribbean region. I would have been ending my years when he was probably on his second or third year.
Gotcha.
So he would have been at meets with me, but I didn't actually know who he was yet.
I mean, we saw each other at Pan Am Juniors 21. That was probably the first time. Because I was going to the bar. We talked about this a lot, actually.
Yeah, the first time I met him.
The first time we met each other, I was going to the bar where he was now walking out. And we just kind of nodded at each other. Didn't say anything. But we knew of each other.
Yeah.
I think our parents knew each other, but because he was younger than me, unfortunately I didn't get to race him.
Okay.
Lamar Taylor though whooped me for quite a few years in high school, so I knew Lamar very well.
That's pretty crazy. And so then you ended up, Jordan, at Tennessee, and Lamar ended up at Henderson
State, I think.
And then and Nikoli, can you tell me a little bit about how you ended up at Tennessee and what made Knoxville appealing for you?
I mean, what was it? It was around Worlds. I mean, 2022 was the first time I read Coach Rich, Rich Murphy, because that was World Juniors, and I was like 16 years old, I think, at the time. And that's when I started talking to Rich, and George reached out to me. And then I didn't take my visit. I committed to and signed everything before I came to take my visit. I was like the last one in my class to sign and stuff like that. So when I came up here, Jordan was my host actually.
Yeah. You could tell.
Yeah. But Jordan,
I was his host, but I was busy, so I pawned him off on somebody else.
Yeah, so I was another guy. But I mean, we still had dinner and stuff like that. I mean, we hung out a lot, and I love the team and everything because played soccer,
Yeah.
and I pretty much loved the team. I was like, yeah, I definitely want to go here. Also, I think it was your mom that told the coaches about me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you you took a visit. Jordan pawned you off. You still liked it. And then I'm curious if you guys interacted with Lamar at all when he was looking at Tennessee,
So
or like looking to transfer from Henderson.
I've texted back and forth with Lamar my entire time in college since my freshman year. He watched my
Okay.
freshman year, saw SECs, and he was super interested in the program. But obviously, he was at another school, and he was looking at fifth year options. And so, for my entire time here at Tennessee, I'd actually been talking to him about the program, and going into Paris. I spoke to Matt and I said, "Hey, there's a really good sprinter from Bahamas. I've known pretty well. He, used to whoop me like all the time in high school at Carista, so he's pretty good. And I think he'd be a great addition to the sprint team." So I think he came on his visit in the fall,
Even like
February. Yeah, or no, it was the spring. I was also his host. I did not abandon him though, but I think his visit went really well. And he came here early and started training for Paris. He and I went to a training camp together in Ireland and had a blast. And then we all went to Paris and had a great time. And he came back this year. Nikoli came back. Guy came back, and everybody was on a mission.
Yeah. Just Nikolai, what has stood out to you about, you visited the team, you liked the team, but especially this year, what has stood out to you about being on this team, especially with this group of guys who are not only all from Central and South America, but also, have these big goals of being the fastest ever in the NCAA.
well, last year NCAAs, well, we were in first all the way until I think third leg, and then I dove the water, became fifth. But I don't think any of y'all heard me when I was going up on the podium. I was like, yeah, this ain't happening again next year. So then after that, the season ended. Everyone went home, kinda, and then Jordan and I stayed back and was training, and we did trial land together. I think that's when I started like saying, yeah, I need to start changing how I am for the season. So I kind of treated my freshman year kind of like a free trial in a kind of way, just getting accustomed to like being in a new place. And this year I called it crash out season because now I just slap the water every time I win, and I never used to do that, but it's pretty fun because I learn a lot from Jordan, he, Lamar, and everyone else on the team as well.
Yeah. That's super cool to hear about, and honestly really inspiring that you guys are able to have this goal at the beginning of the season and then just completely crush it by the end of the season. I mean, Jordan, just knowing it was your last chance, how much motivation or just determination did you have to you know, not only get to this goal line, but bring these guys with you?
I mean, we at the start of the year, I think when we talked about it, there was never a point where it felt like, oh, this might be a bit too much. This was, this might be kind of. We knew it was going to be tough, but there was never a point where we doubted. And so, I felt super confident the whole year. And going into SECs, like I mean, although it wasn't a full taper meet, like we swam that like it was it. Like that was the end all be all. And so I mean, it was a blast of a year, and I'm super 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 proud of these boys and how they stepped up. So.
Yeah. At SECs, because now I'm just curious, like, did you expect to be as fast as you guys were?
I think what being able to go as fast as we did, was we didn't go into it setting specific times. We were like, we know the records out there, and like for the 2 free, the 4 free, like we know what it is, but let's not try to complicate it too much. And oh, we have to go this specific thing. Let's just rip. Let's just have fun and see how fast we can really go. Because I think the 4 free was 43.3, I think. And we at SECs were like, okay, that's definitely doable. We can get under that, but let's just see how fast we can go. And we took like I think just under a second off of it, which blew my mind. And but I think what helped is not setting a specific time, like just kind of doing the best we could possibly do, and going out there and putting our best foot forward.
Yeah. Nikoli, anything to add to that?
Before every relay, I will tell these guys that was supposed to be easy and
Yep.
nothing's promised, especially at NCAAs because we watch women's NCAAs. And where some of the girls are supposed to place, like, projected to place high, they kind of fell short of that. So I was telling these guys, even though we're NCAA champions, it's never promised, but it's not guaranteed. So we have to treat it like we are not NCAA champions at first seed and just some other seed papers. I think it's just to have fun as well. And then before really, I feel like it took a lot of pressure off of us doing that. We already had one under our belt last year at Collegiate. So it was more like to go have fun and just give Jordan one last good dance to us.
I will say what helped me stay calm a lot on that relay was how calm the other three guys were. Like, if you'd have seen us before the 4-free relay, we were probably the most unserious people in the building. We were in the back hallway singing Rivalry. I can't remember what the artist's name is, but we were belting that out in the back hallway like 10 minutes before the relay. And honestly, I think that helped me stay as calm as I did, because knowing that these guys were going to rip, but they weren't over there being all nervous and shaking in the boots.
Yeah. That's again great to hear. I feel like you love to hear that. I'm curious how you guys saw the other two legs of this team grow this year. Obviously Lamar, it being his first year at Tennessee, but it seemingly he did not miss a beat, and he obviously already had the pedigree of being an NCAA champion at Division II. But then also Guy, who has come up through this program and grown each year, but it seems like he also took a massive leap this year in the pool.
Guy showed up here and has consistently been hungry for it. Like, that kid will find a way. Like, he learns really well. He's very perceptive, and he's a racer. You put him in any pool, anywhere, and he's going to deliver. And I think that's what his strength is and always has been. He has taught me a lot, I know, when it comes to technique, stroke-wise, especially long course. He came in as a really good long course swimmer, and I had a lot of work to do on long course. But I think watching him kind of grow and develop over the past 3 years has been really cool, because he was already really good at what he did when he came in, and he's gotten so much better. And he'll be a senior next year, and I'm sure that I have no doubt that the team will be in good hands.
I can't really do Lamar.
Yeah, I think I can talk a little bit about Lamar as well. Like, he was at a D2 program for 4 years, which is a little bit different than D1 swimming. I'm sure the training was slightly different. I'm sure the scheduling was different. I mean, the conference meets a different time. The scheduling for dual meets is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I think he did a phenomenal job of adapting to what we do here. And he just jumped all in and never, like you said, never missed a beat. Like, he always delivered on the relays. I mean, he was also really good in the backstroke this year. Got himself on the record board, not just in freestyle, but backstroke, got a third event in there as well. And phenomenal on the 2 medley as well. Just really fun to race with and really competitive in practice. I think, honestly, one of the more entertaining things to watch and be a part of this year was the rivalry between Lamar and Nikoli in practice. There's always something going on, and it kept us all on our toes. Like, I mean, every day it's who beats who or who's faster than who, and it made us all hungry. So
Lamar night, like in the they call it a holding bay. What is
Marshall.
Marshalling group? Because Lamar said something, and I just like do it to piss him off. Lamar, shut up. Just go back and forth, and one of the guys asked Guy, "Aren't you guys supposed to be teammates?" And Lamar would I just go back and forth at each other, like right before the race.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just Lamar and I's relationship. We don't take it seriously at all. But it's pretty fun to see Lamar kind of just fit straight into the team after being here for just a year alone.
Yeah. I think he was that piece that
Yeah.
we needed, and I think me knowing him before as well, even though Nikoli and Guy didn't really know him, it made it super easy. And he's a funny guy. He can get along with anybody. So
That's awesome. And yeah, just super cool to hear that, again, he was that missing piece and he fit in perfectly, seemingly with you all, and certainly with those relays. All right. So just to wrap up here, Jordan, I'm just curious what the future looks like for you, what your plans are now that you're done with NCAA swimming.
I think for now I'm just gonna take a step back and focus on school and just living the NARP life and relaxing for a little bit, get the body and the mind right, and we'll see what the future holds. No idea what it does hold for now, but just kind of enjoying basking in what we've been able to accomplish this year, and being super grateful for 4 years at Tennessee. Wouldn't have wanted to do it anywhere else, and we'll see where life takes me soon.
Do you think you will continue swimming, especially, or go for another Olympics?
That's the $1 million question that we're still trying to figure out, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes. We can never rule it out, and not 100% sure what we'll do. But I'll be here in Knoxville for the foreseeable future, just kind of figuring things out, and one day at a time. But for now, back to the school grind.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.